Hello, my name is Chuppa, and I'm going to talk about the biggest problem in the world right now, probably, which is body snatching by vril parasite and by microchip. Well, vril body snatching is called droning. First of all, the vril is what the Illuminati generally use to take over people, and makes it easier for them to have the people do what they want. The vril are underground reptiles that predate humans, and the vril type 1 are about a foot tall with eye stalks and reddish scales, different colors, different regions. They're just dumb reptiles. They're smarter than chimpanzee, but they're not as smart as humans. They have a compulsion to body snatch other living creatures, and they prefer humans because it's their best quality of life they can get. Now, they have a proboscis that comes out of their head, the top of their spine, comes out, and a little worm kind of thing wriggles out, and the person or whatever would need to be immobilized. It need to be drugged or tied up, or you just push it away. But how they do it is, it's parasite biology. It is not mystical, magical. It is not like latching on to your chakra or whatever. It is a parasite biology. Proboscis comes out of the spinal column. There's a protrusion that comes straight up, and like a worm little thing comes out. It does not go into your eyeball. It goes against your eyeball and worms its way under the eyelid and around and back to the optic nerve, where it circles several times going towards the back, towards your brain, and it circles the optic nerve several times, which is where the picture of the medical industry comes from, with that snake curling around the pole. That's where it comes from. And it circles the optic nerve until it reaches the back of your optic nerve, and it releases the spinal fluid that contains the parasitic cells into your brain. And the person dies. The person's consciousness dies. You're not in there somewhere. The person is not temporary. It's a permanent transfer, one way, for the lizard and the poor creature, and releases the parasitic cells in the spinal fluid. It's horribly painful, and the person dies, and the parasite dominates. It's not symbiotic. It's complete domination, and the vril parasite takes over the human body. And it takes about a month for them to adapt and recall memories and learn to mimic that person's behavior. And becomes a parasite host, or drone, they call it. Now, drones don't have lizard eyes, they don't have slit eyes, and they don't morph back and forth from lizard to person. It's one way. The lizard's body dies, and the human consciousness dies. And after a month of not doing much, just adapting to the body and learning to mimic that person's behavior, they live the rest of their life in your body. Takes your friend, say, and you're talking to him after they've been droned. You're not talking to your friend, you're talking to the thing that killed your friend, to take his body and use it. Now, this was the biggest secret in the world until Donald Marshall broke it, because there's a lot of disinfo with David Icke and others that say that don't talk about this. Only one guy talks about this, and that's Donald Marshall, and now I'm trying to help him. The drones have no sympathy or empathy for anyone but themselves. They fake it well. And there's no physical way to tell. There's no smoking gun of, oh, he turned into a lizard. None of that. That's fake. The eye slit thing is fake. You can have that reaction by overdosing on antibiotics. Like the Jimmy Johnson football coach broadcasting the Super Bowl, that's an overdose of antibiotics to get that slit eye appearance. And they can fake sympathy, but they don't care. They don't care about anything but themselves. They don't care about each other even. They just want to be a top level creature they can drone and live as that. They're a parasite. They have a compulsion. They have a sexual compulsion to drone people. Now, there's not many ways to tell once that happens. Like, they can't understand dry humor, and if you're lucky, the droning process of going in around the eyeball will rip the eyelid on the outside or the inside, and one of the eyes will appear different than the other, or it'll be swelling, it'll swell out or sink in. Like, hi Bono from U2, and why do you think he wears the shades all the time? Also, the singer from Radiohead, that's not a lazy eye, he's a drone. Also, they have erratic type of behavior. They need handlers around usually so they don't go off and bite someone on the face or something stupid. They're smarter in a human, but they're still not as smart as the original human. And it's the worst thing. There's a lot of drones in the world, but there's still more humans. And they fear people knowing this. Now, that messed up eye thing is not common. They use young, immature, frail type 1 to drone people, ideally, so the smaller proboscis, less chance of the eye being messed up. The only way to tell for sure is an MRI or CAT scan of the brain, looking for the front of the brain, no brain activity in the front part of the brain. Same things you see on a serial killer. That's not human behavior. That's either mind control or one of these things. And the droning process will kill the front activity in the brain, and you can see that in the MRI or CAT scan. Now, this is the worst thing in the world because there's no one going back, the person is dead, and the thing is, there are no good hosts, there are no good drones, because they kill that person in order to take his body. It's not like the movie The Host where, oh, it's a good thing and it's symbiotic. It's not. They're inherent murderers. They murder to take that body. And same thing with an animal, with a horse or whatever. You drone a horse, you get a smarter horse. Cats, dogs, whatever. Now, this needs to be known about. This needs to be stopped. They need to be eradicated. And they don't want that. They will beg and cry and plead for sympathy like a human would, but they're not. They're just trying to maintain self-preservation. They're horrible parasitic lizards. They're not mystical creatures. They're just lizards with parasite biology. Now, they've been called many nicknames like a mimic, a demon, angels, or they have so many names like a jinn, or different countries have different names for them. And the history of them has been removed a lot of time by hosts throughout the years, but you can still find it. The Eye of Horus symbol with that stupid line going off, curly line, and then the one going straight down, means the curly one is the proboscis going into the eye, and the one straight down means the overflow of the spinal fluid coming out. And in the Egyptian times, they would leave that on the face as a religious symbol. Now, it's not. It's just a parasite, but that what they did at the time. And the Eye of Horus symbol is not the pineal gland bisected. It's not. It's this parasite.